talking about. That's a country. That's really a success. It's easy to create government jobs. I could say, add a lot of people to your payrolls. I can fake up the numbers if I want, but that's not the way you build a great country. You don't do that here, and that's not the way. But it's a good way to show good numbers, I'll tell you. You just tell everybody, hire a lot of people. That's what they used to do under the Biden administration, under Barack Hussein Obama. They'd say, hire a lot of people so we can make our numbers look good. I do the opposite. And we have real numbers. These are real numbers. There's truly no better time to invest in the USA. The results speak for themselves. Since the election, TSMC has pledged to invest $100 billion in the United States. So they're coming in from Taiwan. We have tremendous numbers of companies coming from Taiwan and building in the U.S. Apple, $600 billion investment. Hyundai, $26 billion. Micron, $200 billion. SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle, over $500 billion. Amazon, $35 billion. Pfizer, $70 billion. Jera, $200 billion. Google, $25 billion. NVIDIA, $500 billion. Genentech, $50 billion. Johnson & Johnson, $57 billion. We're bringing back all of our pharmaceutical business. IBM, $150 billion. AstraZeneca, $50 billion, among many others, many others, too many to talk about. But one of the most significant factors in this remarkable surge of new investment has been my transformation of trade policy. 8 years ago, I came to this very summit. I was here. Does anybody remember? I don't know. I remember. Does anybody remember what I said? Yeah, there's a few hands up there. It must have been a great speech. 3 people. It's not too many people. But there's no reason to, because you saw whatever I said, I did. And for the first time, I laid out the principle that economic security is national security. Economic security, that's for South Korea, that's for any country. But economic security is, in fact, national security. I made the case that the global trading system was broken and in urgent need of reform, had to be fixed. The system had been exploited by countries that broke the rules at the expense of countries that followed the rules to a T, and asked the nations of APEC to be our partners in making the system fairer and more sustainable for all of us, and we all work together, the APEC nations. 8 years later, as I'm back here in Asia, and I'm pleased to say that the positive vision for revolutionary reform I laid out, it seems like a long time ago, is now a reality. What really seems amazing is that we did all these things. We stopped a lot of wars. We did so many different things, made our country strong. Thank you. Thank you. And the campaign seemed like so long ago. And I was reading something today in one of the journals, and they said, can you believe it? 1 year ago, I was campaigning to win. Think of that. It was about a week. In a week, it'll be November 5th. And November 5th was the election. I said, can you imagine that? Here I am, president. We've done so many different things, economically, militarily, peace-wise, peace through strength. And yet, 1 year ago, it's not long ago, I was campaigning. We didn't win. We were campaigning, and then we had the election, and we had a great election. And the spirit in our country is like incredible. If you compare that, we lost a lot of spirit in our country. Our country is depressed. They were very depressed, and they had a right to be. But around the world, we're signing one trade deal after another to balance our relationships on the basis of reciprocity. Very important word. On this trip alone, I've signed groundbreaking agreements with Malaysia, Cambodia, Japan. And our deal with the Republic of Korea will be finalized very soon, like moments or very shortly thereafter. These agreements will be incredible victories for all of us, because everyone is better off when we have stable partnerships, not plagued by chronic problems and imbalances. Probably you know that President Xi of China is coming tomorrow here, and we're going to be, I hope, making a deal. I think we're going to have a deal. I think it'll be a good deal for both. And that's really a great result. That's better than fighting and going through all sorts of problems and, no reason for it. I think it's going to be a great deal for both, so I'll be meeting him tomorrow. A lot of people are interested They're also interested in what we're doing, but they're interested in that. I can tell you a lot. The world is watching. And I think we'll have something that's very exciting for everybody. And that's also good for South Korea. It's good for all nations. We're ending gaping trade deficits, unfair trade barriers to market access, insecure supply chains, weak, pathetic supply chains, and much, much more. We had such bad supply chains under the last administration. It was embarrassing. And we're entering a new era of trade that truly works for both sides. Got to work for everybody. You know, deals have to be good for everybody. I've heard that all the time, and I never really believed it, I'll be honest. I said, oh, if you make a great deal. The best deals are deals that work for everybody, especially when you're talking about nations. You know, when you're talking about nations, it really is a little bit different than you're doing a business deal and you want to just rip their hearts out, right? These guys know what I mean. They've ripped out so many hearts. But when you have nations, it's a little bit different, you know? You gotta all balance out a little bit. When I announced reciprocal tariffs last April, some people thought it was wonderful, and others really weren't so sure. They weren't sure. They didn't understand tariffs because tariffs were used against us. We didn't use tariffs stupidly. And we do now. National security. This week we proved once and for all that few critics, there were no critics left. The only critics are people that took advantage of us for many years, and now they're not able to do that. The deals we're signing with our friends and partners are making our alliances closer and stronger than ever before, and they respect us because it was so foolish. The people that ran our country were so foolish. With these agreements, our nations will extend our vital security alliances into the realm of economic security for the first time ever. We're forging new partnerships on strategically important industries like shipbuilding, energy, semiconductors, critical minerals, and, very important pharmaceuticals. We learned that during COVID. We had to rely on other countries to give us pharmaceuticals. You can't do that. Certain industries you want to have there. You want to have your medicines made ideally in your own country. Many of our agreements also include deepening collaboration of industries of the future, such as nuclear, quantum, artificial intelligence, where America is number one by a lot. Actually, we're really number one by a lot. We're number one in military consequence. We're number one in military, in the quality of the weapons. That's why everyone wants to buy for us. I'll tell you what we have a long lead on is submarines, nuclear submarines. We are so far advanced that by perhaps 20, 25 years. We're 25 years ahead of any competition. And not only are the tariffs strengthening our alliances, they're also bringing peace to the world. On Sunday in Malaysia, we signed the Kuala Lumpur Peace Accords, ending forever the war between Cambodia and Thailand. Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's interesting. We were making trade deals with Cambodia and with Thailand, and I sort of watch what I do. I don't go to the beach and sleep all day. I like to watch. And I see Cambodia, Thailand, among many other nations. And this is true for numerous other deals too. But I see Cambodia, Thailand, and I read a front page story about the fact that there were thousands of dead people along the border. And they fought for a long time. And I said, wait a minute, we're making deals? And they're starting a war? They were just starting, and it was vicious. Thousands of people were killed along the border, their two borders. And I said, let's call the head. I didn't know the heads of either one. I called them. They were both great people and sort of reasonable. I said, listen, you want a trade deal? We're not going to make a deal with you if you're going to be in war. Then I called Cambodia. I called Thailand. I called Cambodia, back and forth. And after about 2 days, we ended up with the help of Malaysia. Malaysia was like a mediator. We used a beautiful facility in Malaysia because it was too hot. And I don't mean hot weather-wise. I mean it was hot. It was too hot with bullets flying all over the place. And Malaysia was fantastic, and they helped implement it. The prime minister was great guy. Just left him. And within 2 days, we signed a deal. And the two people came in. They were like best friends. It was a beautiful thing to see. We saved, probably millions of lives. They've had a tempestuous relationship I said, for how many years? 500 years. I said, that's a long time. That's a long time. But we think this is going to be, hopefully, I use the word everlasting. Same thing in the Middle East. We hope it's going to be everlasting peace. They've never had peace. They've 3,000 years, and we signed in the Middle East. But I've ended 8 wars in 8 months, and in many instances, trade has played a big part in getting those wars ended. On top of it all, tariffs now projected to reduce our deficit by $4 trillion over the next 10 years, and I think actually much more than that. That's national security, because you can't have deficits and you can't have debt all over the place. And stops inflation and strengthening the dollar and ultimately balancing our federal budget, which I think we're going to do very quickly, only because of our policy of fair tariffs. And for any company that does not wish to pay the tariff, I say, you could build your factory in America. If you build your factory in America, there is zero tariffs. But, again, going back to the wars, it's so important. If you look at India and Pakistan, so I'm doing a trade deal with India, and I have great respect and love, as you know, for Prime Minister Modi. We have a great relationship. Likewise, the Prime Minister of Pakistan is a great guy, and the field marshal, they have a field marshal. You know why he's a field marshal? He's a great fighter. He really is. He's a great guy, too. And so I know them all. And I'm reading that 7 planes were shot down. They're going at it, and they're really starting to go. And it's a big thing. These are 2 nuclear nations, and they're really going at it. And I called Prime Minister Modi. I said, we can't make a trade deal with you. No, we must make a trade deal. I said, no, we can't. You're starting a war with Pakistan. We're not going to do it. And then I called Pakistan. I said, we're not going to do trade with you because you're fighting with India. And, 2 nuclear nations. And they said, no, you should let us fight. They both said that. They're warring. They're strong people, I'll tell you what. Prime Minister Modi is the nicest looking guy. He says, and he looks like you'd like to have your father, like, he's a killer. He's tough as hell. No, we will fight. I said, whoa, this is the same man that I know.
Gotta be.
But after a little while, and they're good people, and after literally 2 days, they called up and they said, we understand, and they stopped fighting. How is that? Isn't that amazing? Now, you think Biden would have done that? I don't think so. Most people wouldn't have thought of it, but, they wouldn't have thought of it. No, but here we are, we're doing deals. So you add an extra sentence, and you say you have to stop shooting at each other. 7 planes were shot down. You have to stop the war. And they stopped the war. And if it weren't for the tariffs, I said I was going to put 250% tariffs on each country, which means that you'll never do business. In other words, there's nothing you can sell for 250%. That means, that's a nice way of saying we don't want to do business with you. You don't have to say that, because that's a nasty, we don't want to do business. No. You say, we're going to put 250% tariffs if you don't stop the war. And they understood that, and within 48 hours, we had no war, no people killed. I mean, it's makes me feel so good. It's we saved millions and millions of lives with all of them. Azerbaijan. If you look at just take a look at that one. That was going on for, I think, 38 years, right? And President Putin called me. He said, "It's amazing. It's amazing. We couldn't get that war stopped. 38 years it went on, millions of people killed, and we got it done." And the 2 countries came in, and they were in the White House, and they started off here, and they got closer, 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 closer. After an hour, they were hugging each other in peace. It was amazing, actually. It was beautiful to see 2 very good countries, 2 very good leaders. One was there for 22 years, one was there for 7. And they both said, my entire political life, all I did was shoot people on the other side. And we got it closed up. And we did that 8 times. The only one I didn't do is Russia, Ukraine, but that'll get done too. That'll get done. I thought that was going to be an easy one because of my relationship with President Putin. He turned out to be a little different, but I think it'll get done. It's would have never started if I were president. That war would have never, ever started. So we've used trade to create peace in a lot of different locations. We also solved the war in Africa, Congo, Republic of Congo, and Rwanda. that was much smaller to do with trade, more to do with common sense. They were fighting for years. 10 million people were dead, and we got that one done too. So we did a lot of them. We did 8 in 8 months, and I think the other one's going to come along. I really think so. I thought that would have been one of the easier. Who would have thought we created peace in the Middle East but didn't get Russia and Ukraine? Because peace in the Middle East was undoable. They're looking, they're shaking their heads. It was undoable. We got it done. 3,000 years, okay? They never had peace. They never had anything like it. And we have all countries signed up, and the level of spirit and everything. I think it's gonna hold for a long time, hopefully forever. Hopefully that's an everlasting one too. So in conclusion, at some point in your careers, every great business person and CEO in this room today has faced critics who said reform, innovation, and bold action would only lead to a total disaster, but none of us would be here if we had listened to the small minds with no vision. These are small minds with no vision. They had no understanding of success. They had no understanding of life and death. True success comes from having the confidence and the courage to prove the doubters wrong. And oftentimes you'll go the opposite way of almost everybody, and you'll be the one that's right, and the others will be the one that's wrong. And that's where you have your greatest successes. And that's what America and our Indo-Pacific partners really are doing this week, and what our businesses and entrepreneurs do each and every day. That's what you do, the most successful people in the world. Together we're solving the challenges that no one before us has ever been able to solve, and we're forging a free and open Indo-Pacific, and for all of the people, we're creating a future of dignity and security, prosperity and pride. From the rolling hills of San Francisco to the gleaming streets of Seoul, from the bustling factories of Toledo, Ohio, to the bright lights of Tokyo, from Pittsburgh to Palawan, from Boston to Bangkok, from Detroit to Da Nang, and from Cleveland to right here in Gyeongju. Nice place. Did I do good with that one? Did I do okay? Gyeongju. Good, beautiful place, by the way. We're strengthening old friendships, forging new bonds, building new factories, pioneering new industries, and creating a dramatically better world for our children and for generations to come. Together we will build a future of strong, independent nations on both sides of the vast ocean, joined by our common interests, united by common values, and reaching constantly toward a richer, safer, and more peaceful Pacific with fairness, persistence, and common sense. That's such an important 2 words. We will build together, we will trade together, we will prosper together, we will thrive together, and above all, we will win together like never before. We're going to have an incredible relationship together for generations to come. And I just want to thank everybody in the room. I know so many of you. You're incredible people. God bless you. God bless the nations of this great region, and God bless America. Thank you very much, everybody.
Who the hell knows what's going on? I thank y'all for tuning in. Jesus, he might have another meeting. I might be back in about 10 minutes.